All right, y'all. Welcome to the Uncommon Connectors podcast. I am your host, Nana Carr, and today we have Sekou Hill from A.C.T Institute.
There is no one else in creation like you. There's nobody like you. And what you've come to do and what you have to offer is like no other.
All right, Sekou. Hey, Sekou.
Hi.
Nice to meet you, and I am so happy that you are here. For those that have not, watched this podcast before, we're just going to ask some casual conversation questions about what you do and your experience in what you do. So first and foremost, who are you and what do you do?
Well, I'm Sekou Hill. I wear multiple hats. I started A.C.T Institute, which is, my life's mission. It stands for Athletics and Career Training Institute. So basically, I train student athletes into career fields. Right now, the athletes are basketball players. The career field is cybersecurity. In addition to that, I'm a basketball ref. So, if anybody see me, I ref JV varsity games all during the school season. And then professionally, a healthcare information security specialist.
Like a man of all hats, I'm here for it.
Gotta make some coins.
Absolutely. So when were you inspired to first pursue this career choice, and what played a part in your decision to just go for it?
Well, I didn't choose healthcare. Healthcare chose me. So before I was into cybersecurity, I was a revenue cycle manager, and that's basically the business of healthcare. And so I started that in 1998. I started in the mailroom at Georgetown University Medical Center and moved my way all the way up through the field. When COVID came, like a lot of people, I was looking for a pivot, and this is where cybersecurity came in. I found the direct correlation in the arena of compliance between healthcare and cybersecurity. So I was able to, kind of transition right into, my next step.
That's amazing. So in that journey, because you said that you kind of transitioned, through COVID, and COVID taught you some things, and that you kind of created a new experience and a new life for yourself based on those experiences. So when you did that, what happened in your life or in your career that made you realize, you know what, this is it. This is what I'm going for. And this is the moment that you knew that you were on the right path?
Well, I'll tell you this, before I got into cybersecurity, I did not have a passport. Ergo, I had never been anywhere.
Yeah.
I've been to 16 different countries.
I know that's right.
And have pretty much worked in all of them. My pride and joy, I have a tree house in Costa Rica that I go to get released, and I still work there. And so that is pretty much the beauty of, transitioning, and why I'm trying to share that experience, with as many young people as I can.
Yeah, so basically it transformed your life. So you're trying to extend that out, pay it forward to the community.
Definitely.
I stand. I'm out here for it. All right. So let's talk about the job, right? Because a lot of times when we are talking about different careers, we talk about the big things, right? The money we make, the things that we do, but we never really talk about like the day to day. So let's talk about your day-to-day. Run us through a day in the life of your career, and also tell us what a typical week may look like as well. So let's talk about how your day-to-day is. What do you typically do? And I'll also what you do during the week, like how many days you work, things like that.
Sure. Well, honestly, I have what I call non-negotiables. So part of my success, I get up at 4 and I work out. So I work out at 4, between 4 and 6 is my gym time. And then, it takes me a little while to get ready. So from 7 to 8, I do a little, prayer, a little reflecting, meditating. Pretty much I just zone out. So that's how my day begins. And then, I pretty much, have my agenda, what I need to do for the day. I look at my calendar. My job requires a lot of meetings, so I could have a meeting or I could be able to get right to work. So depending on what that is, I kind of, just take it from there.
That's amazing. I too have non-negotiables. And I also want to point that out for, the audience. Non-negotiables in life are non-negotiable sometimes because life will pull you in different directions and it's hard to really stay focused. So I highly encourage that people have that list, even if it's just a short list of 1 or 2 things of non-negotiables for your day, for your life, for your interactions that you must have. So I love that you brought that up because that's important to really pinpoint, especially when talking careers, to have those non-negotiables are the things that you do for you in career and for self. So I love that, by the way. And I'm also an early morning gym person, so I stand for that too. All right. So let's talk about if someone shadowed you for the day, what would they experience? What task do you think would surprise them most in what you do in a day?
Well, my job requires a lot of reading and a lot of meetings. So it's not that glamorous. Generally, I do some dope stuff, so don't get it wrong. But most in general, I have a lot of reports. Cybersecurity really is about performing a task, and then the report is where the value comes in. So I have a lot of report writing, a lot of reading to do, and then meetings about how the work did or future engagement. So that really takes up a lot of my day. So if someone was shadowing me, that's what they would be in for. Just, we would be just going from one meeting to another, or sometime we got to find, time to grab a report and kind of dissect it so we can, be on task.
And so those meetings, can you tell us a little bit about what that's like?
Certainly. Well, for me in the cybersecurity world, I'm information security specialist in healthcare. Healthcare data is the most valuable on the dark web. My job is to keep you or anyone else, when they go to the doctor or the hospital, your data's out there so people can find out everything about you, and including how you paid your bill, which means they will have your credit card information along with with whatever health issues you're having. My job is to protect that, at all costs. So, basically, in a nutshell, that's pretty much what I do.
You out here saving lives and saving information. That's what I'm talking about.
Trying.
We're doing, all right? All right, so let's get real for a minute, okay? Because we always talk about what we like, what we love, the things that we do in our day-to-day that we enjoy. But what is something about what you do that you dislike? And something that you would tell somebody that wants to enter what you do in the career field, what they should be prepared to overcome?
Well, I won't say I dislike it because I learned to like it, but if you go into IT or cybersecurity, it's a lifelong journey of learning. So it's never like you get to a point when you're not going to have to, learn the next trend, the next technology, especially if you want to stay relevant in the field. So, you really can't let your guard down because, I know there's certain technology people are scared of taking their job, but you don't have to worry about that because that technology will need someone in that role to watch it.
And I think that's important to talk about because the technology we won't speak of, otherwise known as AI, I'm sure. We're talking about that, taking jobs. And I think that's a big deal right now. And I feel like as someone in high school or someone that's early in college, that is a real concern because who wants to do all this work and put in all this effort just to get their job replaced? So I'm happy you brought that up. So if somebody is worried about that, what would you tell them? Like something that they can hold on to and remember that if that's what they're worried about, they can.
Well, I have a different take on it because what I feel like is the human interaction, the heartbeat, and the fact that we're both warm-blooded. That's our advantage over AI. And as long as you stay authentic and then just keep tapping into your creative self, AI could never replace you because your brain is working at a much different rate than AI ever could, even with 100 servers and all this quantum computing. To me, it can never replace a human being just because of that human interaction.
Exactly. And I think it's important to remember too, that AI is designed around humans and human interactions. So the things that you're afraid of, you already have within you. And sometimes you just have to, like you said, stay learning and stay active in your field so you can make sure that you stay competitive and also leverage it when you can. But don't let that fear necessarily consume you because at the end of the day, AI is replicating you. It's not the other way around. So I feel like that's very important to talk about with anything concerning information technology, or honestly, any career field right now, because that is a legitimate fear. So if you're out there and that's something you're afraid of, please keep that in mind. Like you said, stay authentic, stay learning, and stay competitive, All right, so let's talk about how you got there. We talked about, those moments, but let's talk about the tangibles, right? So if someone were to start from zero and they said today, I want to go into doing what you do, what is the first thing, because we work in small steps here, what is the first thing they should do?
Well, I feel like the very first thing is to find what avenue you want to take. This is a huge field, and whether you're doing IT, cybersecurity, or what have you, every industry requires IT and cybersecurity. And so, the reason I created ACT Institute, it was because, I felt like, people just give that recommendation to go in IT or cybersecurity, but you're not asking someone, what are you into? Because if you're in the shoes, well, Nike needs IT and cybersecurity. If you're in the music, well, the music companies need to keep people from pirating their music. They need cybersecurity. So every industry needs it. And the best way to get in it and to stay interested is to come in knowing exactly the direction that you want to take.
Yeah, so basically coming in knowing who you want to help.
And you let your passion drive that. Yeah, because, you could be, sitting at in a dry cleaners, just making sure that, the thing spins around, and that could still be considered IT, but that's not really what you wanted to do.
Absolutely. So that's really big on being intentional, right? And being intentional from jump and knowing who you want to work with. And again, I also want to circle back to where you were talking about the non-negotiables, because if you are choosing your industry, establishing those non-negotiables early of the type of things you want to deal with in your day-to-day is important as well. So I like that you said that, and that they should really be intentional about the industry that they want to go into, because that helps determine what your quality of life is going to look like. That helps determine exactly what you're going to have to deal with. And those things are important when you're considering sustainability, right? Because you're working in something that makes you feel good about the results that you bring, I'd imagine, right? So I feel like that's important to highlight, and I love that you said that. All right, cool. So let's talk about education, right? So we have those small things. We can Google things, we can look up things, but what education resources would you consider? What majors would you consider? Or for those that, may not want to go that route, what are some alternative routes they can consider?
Well, I'm the or. So,
Nothing wrong with being an or.
Yeah, so no, I'm definitely a fan of getting your degree, because, I know people with and without, and a degree will definitely get you further. But I do not have a degree. I did not go to college. Again, I started in my field in healthcare in the mailroom and just worked my way up, and then self-taught myself. And then, also my love of computers throughout my life helped me to, pick this up naturally. But what I'll say is all the CompTIA certs are available in any high school kid or middle school, because I think that the required age to take your A+ or your Network Plus is like 13 or 14 years old. So you can start getting certs even while you're deciding whether you want to go to college or not. And, the one recommendation I have that a lot of people don't talk about as far as the educational side of the field is it's all about practical application. Right. So you got to be building, your own network. You got to be, tinkering around with servers. If you got an old desktop, take it apart, learn the ins and the outs, because, the one thing, and I just had a conference last week on quantum computing. And, I was talking to, the presenter there, and even though computing has gone so far, you're still going to need to know the motherboard, the chip, and what those look like, and how they're affected by, certain things that you would do.
Absolutely. And I feel like that's so huge, is, starting kind of from where you are, because there is a little, your time is your time, and certificates take time. That's the time investment for studying and taking the test. So I think it's very important to really understand exactly which route you want to go based on what your needs are, and going back to what you said about picking the industry, knowing what your industry requirements are.
But just to answer your question, computer science is always good, but there are degrees in cybersecurity as well. So if you wanted to go to college, people say, oh, you can come into cybersecurity and make $250,000. Yes, but that's with a degree, and you have to work your way up and be, the head of the information security department or something like that. And so, degrees in cybersecurity and computer science, taking those will take you very far, no matter what you want to do, and your salary will be higher.
Awesome. And so based on that, what are some free resources that they can probably look up that can help them, plan their career
The
path?
biggest free resource is in everybody's pocket and in some people's hand right now, and that is your phone. And all the information is out there, YouTube, and just kind of just being interested and inquisitive. So this is the information age for a reason. Anything you want to know, you can find out for free.
Absolutely.
So I could spend all day telling you free resources stuff, but the biggest free resource is that phone in your pocket.
So if they were someone that needed hands-on experience, right? Like you were saying, like playing around with the servers, is there any places that you know of where they can get that experience?
Well, certainly. I mean, the thing about it is, again, if you're talking about hands-on as far as IT, I believe that the best thing to do is, they got different, like computer fix-it places and stuff. They have old desktops. The very best thing you can do is someone aspiring in IT is to get an old desktop and take it apart, learn every inch of it, and then you let that guide, what your interests are. So meaning if when you took it apart, for me, when I took my first desktop apart and it was old and it was my desktop, and I said, I got all these pictures and my music, I had, back when the download, first came. And so I wanted my music, and so I had to find technology that I can plug into the hard drive of an old desktop to be able to extract that. And so from there, and then as far as my interest goes, saying, well, wow, if it was that easy for me to do, all these decommissioned computers that are out here, I knew a lot of companies, they would just throw their computers away. How much valuable information, especially in the healthcare field, has someone thrown in a dumpster where all I could do is buy this thing off Amazon, plug it up to the hard drive, and extract everything that was on there. So, those are the kind of, things that if you kind of just get interested in what's going on with the computer, it'll kind of guide you.
I love that. And then also too, something I've seen, honestly, the libraries offer a lot of those fix-it clinics and things like that that are free, that you can take advantage of. That's something I recently saw that I thought was pretty amazing. DC Library especially, they have a lot of fix-it clinics. You can just walk in and learn how to fix things, or have people who fix it and you can watch them. So I think that was awesome too. All right, so we're talking the most favorite part of any career conversation, okay? We talked about the day of the life, what you do and all that, but we all know, they want to know about the money, right? Let's talk money, okay? What is, we all do, okay? That's why it's in the questions, because I know they're like, okay, that's cool, but what am I going to get paid, okay? So starter pay, right? So what is a realistic amount of money that someone that is either considering the career field or someone that is just starting the career field should expect to either negotiate for or expect to get paid? Because social media be social media, and we need to be realistic. What can they expect? I
think realistically, if you come in and you're actually qualified to interview for the job, then you could expect to receive nothing less than $60K in the DMV. And again, it's your education, it's the projects, it's the experience that you have. Even if you have no work experience, if you bring them a portfolio of things that you did, then your pay is just going up from there. If you start adding degrees, whether you just get a 2-year certificate from community college or whether you go for the whole thing and get a 4-year, a master's, then that's just going to inch your pay up by $10,000. So depending on how much education you have and how much time you actually spent with practical application of that education, you can start at 60, but walk in with no experience and, command, 75 or 80 to start.
That's amazing. Okay.
And that's 75 or 80,000 per year.
That's awesome. And then basically they can set themselves up for success now, right? By planning that out.
Really, this is a 6-figure career, but it's not realistic to walk into any field thinking you're going to walk in at even the medium pay. You should be willing to come in and ready, but it's not a bad starting point. So, even at 60, you can do things, but again, all the work that you put in once you got in there, it would just inch you up. For instance, my nephew who, what kind of inspired me as far as ACT Institute, he got his 4-year degree in computer science. He came out, realized he needed certs, And he got one cert, and he started off at 75. To make a long story short, he's changed jobs about 4 times, and now he's over 200,000 with his degree. So when I speak to these things, I'm speaking, with personal experience.
Awesome. All right. So what are some things that are hard about this job that social media just doesn't show?
Well, I mean, again, I never want to, make anyone think that, you're going to, get a cert or you're going to get a degree and then you can just, forget about everything, all the work that it took to get there. It's a lifelong process of staying on top of your field. And that's no matter what you do, but especially in computers, because they change and they grow and technology adapts so fast that what you know today is not going to be good enough tomorrow.
Absolutely. So with that being said, I know it can get frustrating sometimes, like having to learn all those things, having to keep up, and stay competitive, and also dealing with the day-to-day, because that's the thing. Meetings are hard, right? So what are some things that you do personally to protect your energy and life outside of work? I know the gym, but
I spoke about my non-negotiable. Traveling is the other thing, and I'm blessed enough that basketball officiating chose me, and I love it. So even when I'm home, I spend enough time around the game I love. I created A.C.T Institute because I've been around probably thousands of players in my years now, and I just see so much in them that it's an enjoyable experience for me. Because I do a little training, a little coaching. But, just officiating basketball and just being around the players, it definitely gives me energy.
Absolutely, because I saw something the other day that really, really opened my eyes to that. Because a lot of times we look for work-life, balance. And honestly, in this day and age, work-life balance is borderline impossible. So they introduced a term that I love called work-life integration, where basically you have the things that you love, you define the things that you love, you define the things that you want career-wise, and you find a way to integrate them. And I think that's something you did brilliantly with A.C.T Institute, because you use an environment that you were already in to leverage something that you love. And I love that you brought that up, because it's something we often don't think about. The environments that we intentionally put ourselves in could leverage us up in a way if we just use the resources that are already there, because we constantly seek the resources. But sometimes, as you showed, those resources are there, and you probably cut a lot of work just by taking advantage of the resources that were there and using what you love, what you were already around, and integrating it into something that not only could make you, money essentially, but it also gave you fulfillment, and it also saved you some time and work because those people were already there anyway. So you just leveraged it. Yeah,
no, you're absolutely right. And, I just want to touch on that because, I spent 25 years in the healthcare field and I made, good money. I was never without a job. I was always in demand if I did, want to move from one job to another, but I definitely did not experience fulfillment until I started, trying to connect, my passion with my purpose and then kind of let that guide me.
And it took some self-reflection, right? It helped you had to realize what you really wanted. Like, everything aside, what do I want? Because I know with something that is lucrative, as like IT, you can kind of get lost in that sometimes and not really connect to self and more try to connect to opportunities, right? So based on that and what you have learned about yourself in the process, because that's what's gotten you here, what do you think the biggest success factor for you has been so far, personality-wise, that's gotten you where you need to go?
I think that, and it would be the same reason I started A.C.T Institute, was my love for basketball. It was, the fact that, I could lose today and it would only motivate me to come back tomorrow. And those are the same qualities it takes to be good in IT, cybersecurity, or any field if you plan on being successful. So, the biggest success for me was, just, finding the good and even the bad, getting cut from the team. I went to DeMatha. I was way out of my league. I went to school with actual NBA players and thought that I was going to actually go and try out for the same team that they was on and really learn the hard way that there's a certain level of commitment that they were already putting in the 6th and the 7th grade. I was used to being the tallest guy on the team. They would just throw me the ball, I'd turn around and shoot it. That does it. You're the point guard coming in domestic. So I learned really quickly how to basically lose and then reshift your focus and then take what you can get.
I'm big for that. So with that being said, we've been in this, living game, a while, but as someone who is a teen, what is a way they can practice what you just said now?
Well, I think that, I think that a big problem is always looking for the easier option. And I think that that's human nature. But at the end of the day, everything that's worth doing or having, it requires some sort of adversity or difficulty. Yeah. Not that you're, trying to flat your own tire so that you can walk to school, but at the same time, be okay with going through things and know that all of those things are going to set you up to be able to handle something even bigger that comes down the line.
Absolutely. Just let things happen as they should, and trusting that you're going to come out okay in the other end, simply because one, you are you, and two, you have the ability to transform your reality in any way that you want. You're the author of your life, as they say.
Well put.
Listen, same. Okay. All right. So now let's talk about the future, because, right, they're still in this process, and they are going to be experiencing this career field 5 years from now, right? So based on that, where do you see this industry headed in 5 years, and what changes do you see that are going to, impact them?
Well, I think that a lot of technology is encouraging people to take shortcuts, and I think that what's going to wind up happening is we're going to wind up reverting back to the old way, which means that the people who did not take the shortcuts, who still learned it from the ground up, those are the ones that are going to still be relevant. I'll give you an example. They have this thing called vibe coding right now, where people creating whole softwares, whole video games, and don't even look at any of the code. They just ask ChatGPT to give me code for a ping pong game, and then they just plug it in. And, but once you start learning about how computer networks work, and then cybersecurity also, you could be introducing a whole lot of malicious, things into a network or into society in general and not even know it. So I think that what the future is going to, kind of bring is people who want to sustain longevity in this field are going to have to go back to doing things the old school way, but kind of apply to, the modern way to do it.
Right, because it seems like the easy way is starting to be normalized. So that means you're going to be more leverageable, I guess, if you do things the hard way and learn the basics and know how, and
that's a very
and the
good
why
way to put
behind it.
Because that is absolutely right. When people are worried about AI taking their job, it's because they want to do their job the easiest way possible. See, AI cannot go chop wood for you.
Right.
So if you feeling good about your prospect, your prospect is doing it the manual way, then that would be the tried and true method. And so, although you don't want to ignore technology and all the advancements, you also don't want to forget how to tell time on an analog watch.
Right. So it's just, so basically leveraging both, right? And understanding the reasoning behind it while also leveraging what's there, because AI is there. It's not going anywhere. So you have to learn how to leverage it. But because so many people are going to be learning the same things, you can be the one that's unique by learning the things they don't want to put in the work to learn. So sometimes that goes back to what we were talking about with AI and everything. Like, you are the solution to the problem. So if you keep yourself competitive by constantly learning, and sometimes constantly learning means going back to the basics. And I think people don't think about that. They think they have to learn what's ahead. But if everybody's looking ahead, you can kind of be the revolutionary by looking back and kind of going back and learning the basics that they didn't learn. So I love that. All right. So how has this, you kind of already spoke on it, but just in case you didn't, we forgot to mention something, how has this career changed you as a person? Because I know you said it was a blessing. We talked about it.
Well, I mean, honestly, just to be honest, like, I would have never believed that I would, because again, I started in the mailroom, and I thought the happiest thing was getting out of the mailroom onto the floor. And then as I moved up into the field, I would have thought I was been the happiest guy. I was making good money. I was able to dress like I wanted to at work, regular hours, and things of that nature. And so I would have never believed that, I would have been able to transition into, another field that I love and that was for me, and then be able to find a way to thrive. Because the thing about it is, ACT Institute is the reason why I'm able to thrive in cybersecurity, because I don't have all the experience in the world, but my passion, and then along with, me being inquisitive, keeps me learning while other people when they go to bed.
I know that's right. Come on, last line. Okay. All right. So let's talk about, ACT Institute, right? Because you've mentioned
That's my baby now.
I
Y'all
know
get-
that's your baby. That's why your baby needs a highlight, okay? Because, we talked about, what you do, but let's talk about ACT Institute because I feel like it's very important, not necessarily just from, interview report. I think it's important to share something that is your baby because we deserve to know about it because I know it's something amazing, but it's also making a difference. So can you tell us about ACT Institute, who it benefits and exactly where you see that going?
Well, ACT Institute, again, it stands for Athletics and Career Training. And basically what I do, I want it to be for, many different sports and many different career fields. But right now I'm working with basketball players and cybersecurity. And so, I have my nephew and I also have my son who both, play basketball, were standout basketball players, but did not have, big college prospects. My nephew went D3 and my son is working to be a professional basketball ref. So neither one of them really played college basketball, but I was able to watch them use the same qualities that it took for them to go from, getting cut on the freshman team or riding a bench for JV to eventually being able to be a varsity standout. And it's, it's the discipline, the dedication, the determination, the resilience, you got to keep grades up. You got to keep your behavior up and all of those things. And I watched them leverage those qualities and use it to create a professional career. And so, when I got into cybersecurity, I look back and I say, well, how did I do it? Well, it was those same qualities I used. And so this is pretty much what I want to do. I want student athletes, because I only work with student athletes, but I want them to be good in their sport. If you want to go pro, I want you to go pro. So it's not as if I'm saying I don't, but the likelihood of that is lower than it is higher. So in the meantime, let's focus on your sport, try to be as good as you can be, but let's have a dope career lined up for you right after. So what I'm doing right now is I'm working with kids starting in middle school, teaching them basic IT and cybersecurity concepts. And then as the older they get and the more interest they show, we start aiming them into a certain direction in IT or cybersecurity, and then we try to prepare to have them have their certifications coming out. I'm working with several different cybersecurity companies, as well as I have a few offers to partner up and start my own, which means they'll have their own internship, they have their own first job, coming out of the program as long as they meet certain prerequisites. And, basically have a foothold in the field, because what's happening is a lot of people want to get in, but when they find out how much work that it actually is going to require, and you could be 25, you could be 27, and then decide you want to make six figures. Right. Now you got 5 years of learning to even just get your foot in the door. You could have done that in school. So I want to take that time that we could be wasting between school and when you're 27 and just say, hey, go ahead, recognize that you're going to want to make good money. You're going to want to have the life that you want to live. You're going to want to actually love getting up and going to work every day and maybe have your own business and things one day. So let's go ahead and start getting you ready. And in exchange for you dedicating yourself to that, I'm gonna do everything I can. I'm gonna throw all the resources, training, helping you with AAU fees, sending people to, make your highlight reels and supporting you all the way up through your sport. In exchange, you're going to, apply some of that time and attention to, the career path.
It's like you're giving like a lucrative safety net. It's like you either going to get the bag this way or that way, but you're going to get the bag, right? I'm here for it. All right. I love that. That's why I wanted to make sure that we highlighted that. One, because I wanted to highlight your passions. We saw that arrive. That's beautiful. But
I told you it's my baby.
I know. I was going to get you right for a second. Let's hype you up. That's where I was. Okay. So also that, and because the audience for this, podcast are people that could benefit from what you offer. And I think it's really important because especially, parents, right? Parents want their kids to be successful. And sometimes, it does get shaky sometimes with being an athlete because they could break something. Things can happen. So it's nice to have that safety net. Okay, awesome. So now let's go back a little bit. If you could tell your high school senior self something and one message based on all the experiences that you had, and you could tell yourself one thing that would probably have changed the trajectory of your life or saved you some time and heartache, what would it be?
Well, I mean, I often think about that. And so first thing I'm gonna just say something cliche, and that's stop worrying about what everybody thinks about you, because they're not gonna even matter. But most in general, I played this game with myself where I told when I was 16, I said, think about the 30-year-old self. Think about the 30-year-old you and what are you doing now? And I said this to myself at 60. I was sitting on my front porch, watching the thugs go up and down the street, making the choice in my head whether I wanted to really, admire what they were doing and stuff like that. And I always wanted to live a good life. And so I said, think about the 30-year-old self. I'm 48 now. I did the same thing I was 30. I said, think about what you're going to be doing at 45. Always think about the future you. Because a lot of time we get caught up in right now, today. And so all the decisions we make is only for that version of you right now, when there's another version that's going to be a little more calm. There's going to be another version that wants a family. There's going to be another version that wants to retire comfortably. Think about that version of yourself. And don't do anything to sabotage that at very least.
Absolutely. I think it's so important, and I wish that's what somebody would have told me, is that, like what you said, you evolve. And if you're not evolving, you're not living. Like, we evolve every day and our needs change, what we want change. And we don't really think about that when we're young. We think that this is it. This is what I want to do. This is all it's going to ever be. But you're going to change. And that's okay, right? And you should change, right? So just also being present, but also recognizing that you are going to change and creating a life that supports the changes that you seek as they happen in real time. So I love that. All right, so thank you for everything that you blessed us with today.
My pleasure.
But this is only a short period. So what if someone wants to connect with you outside of this? How would they connect with you?
Well, as dope as I am in the cybersecurity field, I'm not that dope as far as social media goes. So I'm just working my way up through it, and I'm sure I can learn a lot from all these guys in our audience, guys and gals. But I'm Sekou Hill. My first name is spelled S-E-K-O-U, last name Hill, H-I-L-L, on LinkedIn and Facebook. ACT Institute is on Facebook. And then, the rest of the platforms, I got my son working on, just creating the TikTok for me and Instagram and things like that. But I'm Sekou Hill at act-institute.com. So if you want to email me, I love getting personal emails. That's how I know you really try, connect with me.
Yeah.
But other than that, Sekou Hill on Facebook and then Sekou Hill on LinkedIn. And that's another thing I advise all of our listeners to get a LinkedIn page. Start taking LinkedIn very seriously. LinkedIn is Instagram and TikTok for professionals.
Yes.
So if you want to make a lot of money, if you want to be known in your field, LinkedIn is going to be where it's at. It's not going to be necessarily Facebook or Instagram.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Sekou.
Thank you.
I want to thank you for taking the time to talk to us.
Oh, thank y'all. Thank you.
You did great.
Let me hear what you said.
Feel that working in the outside of cybersecurity is more challenging or less challenging than any other?
Well, I'll tell you, and this is how I gauge it, because the thing about cybersecurity is protecting data. Healthcare data has the biggest cost as far as when it's breached. So you got healthcare data and financial data. Those are going to be, so the healthcare industry and the banking industry are going to be the biggest industries that you can go into as far as cybersecurity. So there's a higher level of complication and things that comes with it.
What was your biggest obstacle stepping into the cybersecurity or IT field?
Well, being as though I was, roughly 44 at that point and had spent 25 plus years, I think it was 27 years actually, in one field, that's pretty challenging to step into a field, a whole new field, basically from the ground up. And luckily I had always, had a love for computers, so that kind of compensated a little bit, but it was just challenging on the whole because, my finances and my family and everything says, why are you breaking something that's, that doesn't need to be fixed? Just stay in your field. And so I kind of, went on with my own, intuition told me and I trusted myself.
Cybersecurity meetings do you think you average a day?
I'm sorry?
How many meetings do you think you average a day?
Well, it just depends. It's really not the number of meetings, it's how long they take. Because in cybersecurity, we have what's called engagements. So generally, in my day, I can be meeting about the current engagement I'm on, and that could take an hour or two, but also the future engagements, they need to know, can we do what it is that they need done? So I might have to meet with new clients too. And then I also have to meet with my staff, meet with others. So, I could have 3 or 4 meetings, in any given day.
When it comes to majoring in in computer science in college, right? Most people say it focuses on logistics. So what would you choose to major to focus on skill building?
I would say that the skill building is going to come from your passion. And that's what's going to keep you in the field. So you get the degree, but you find the area that you want. And I'm talking about if you like video games, that's cybersecurity or IT, like everything, the clothes, the shoes, the music, everything has a computer relation to it. And so as far as the skills go, I would start researching and finding out how you can apply what you're learning in school to what you actually love, because that's pretty much like the one message I want to get clear. Don't just go into this for the money. Money is only good up to a certain point, and then you want to kind of enjoy what you're doing. Let your passion and what gets you up every day. What would you do for free? And that's what you should be kind of taking those computer skills and matching it up there.
Do you have any colleges that you recommend for IT and cybersecurity?
Well, University of Maryland is in our area and it's huge. But here's the thing. It's all going to be about your passion, because I've seen people take community college certificates. They're not even degrees, they're certificates. They go for 2 years and get basically the basics of IT, and then they go all in, start at the ground level at a company and then go up. So, I can't say, many colleges per se. University of Maryland is big just in our area as far as all their degree tracks, so that you could never go wrong. But you could go to West Cornfield State. And if you're serious about this field, you can take that and rise right to the top with it. So don't let the college name be what guides you, because it could be fluff.
I just want to say thank you for this, because I want
Oh, you're welcome.
cybersecurity, so this is very
Excellent. You're welcome.
And does ACT Institute, is it a co-ed program?
It is, and that's a great question. It's a co-ed program, but they're separate. So I have a separate girls and a boys program, because I found that each one can kind of focus and concentrate a little better when the other aren't around. So I work with female basketball players and teams. Like I'm just about to pilot in my first school. So I've been working with AAU teams, but I work with girl teams and I work with boy teams. Only when we're doing like an event or something do I bring them together, or sometimes because we do practice and work out too. Like part of my program is we work hard. So sometimes I'll bring those players together and kind of, let them work out. But most in general, I keep them separate.
I wanted to know, what's your main focus when it comes to your career?
Well, that's a good question. And right now, my main focus is giving back to the youth. So that's really more important. I've, kind of gone as far as I ever dreamed I could. And so the only, direction further than where my dreams took me is helping rise, others. And I love basketball. I love athletes. And so it's just really my dream to one day have an NBA player that's scratching his head, whether he want to stay in the NBA or go into cybersecurity.
I know when people get money, like they tend to grow egos. How do you stay humble?
Well, I mean, and I appreciate that. And first off, you got to make a concerted effort to stay humble, because, I have a famous saying, and I made it up, but I hope I don't get it wrong. And that's, I'm no better than anybody else, but there's nobody better than me. So I don't look at anybody like they're beneath me, but I definitely don't look at anything anyone does to something that I can't do. And the other thing is traveling. I go to, I spend time in South America, Central America, Asia. All of these have, poverty areas. And so I expose myself a lot of times to people who wish that they had the opportunities we have. And so that kind of keeps me humble to let me know that just by the flick of the wrist, I wound up being born here and not in Brazil, where kids could have all the best intention in the world. But if they don't have money to go to school, well, they just won't go to school.
For someone that's career bound, are there any certifications that you recommend getting before looking for a job?
Well, I feel like the CompTIA, triad, the A+, Net+, Sec+ is a very good start. And to me, I recommend those to everyone. But after you get that security plus, then you have to identify the area of IT or cybersecurity you want to go into so you don't waste a lot of time. You know, I got people who just knew they wanted to go in the cloud. And so they spend all of this time and money on these Amazon certs and then realize, hey, cloud's not really exciting. I want to do cybersecurity. Well, now you done wasted a lot of time and resource going in the cloud. So before you go past the network plus, I wouldn't even get the security plus before I make sure I want to go into cybersecurity, because security plus is for cybersecurity. A plus and net plus is universal. That information and that knowledge you must have, and those will take you into any field that you want to go into.
When it comes to the amount of work you receive, how do you deal with it physically and mentally?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that one more time?
When it comes to the amount of work you receive every day, how do you deal with it physically and mentally?
Well, pace myself, and one thing I want to be clear, another thing that there's a correlation between basketball and cybersecurity is you have a team. So cybersecurity, you're not going to be very good. And there's a few, positions, namely pen tester, which is hacking, where you see the picture of a hacker, they got a hood on and they're by themselves at a computer. So that is kind of a solo introvert. But most in general, even they work on a team. But most in general, you're going to have a whole team that you can rely on to not put all the pressure on yourself. And so, like, I'm blessed that, I work good enough with people. I'm not the biggest people person, but I work good enough with people that we can support each other. So even though I feel overwhelmed sometimes, at least I know that I'm not alone in the fight.
If you traveled back in time with the knowledge that you have now, what would you do differently to ensure your success, whether it be like cybersecurity or a life lesson that we can take away from, and why?
Well, I would say that don't discount the fact that you must find some sort of enjoyment for what you do. Do not let money guide you. I've met millionaires who are miserable. I've met millionaires who did try to, end their life before and things like that. And that taught me a valuable lesson that money is not it, because we would all think that, once I got to be a millionaire, all my problems would be solved. But if you can't find that enjoyment and that sense of purpose to wake up and have energy for your day, then you're pretty much doing the wrong thing. So let your passion and things guide you. Not to say that you're going to like everything that you do, but you can find a close enough relation to something that you enjoy to something that's going to sustain you, feed you, and help you be upward bound in life.
What are the pros and cons of this career?
I think that the pros is you're going to have a job if you want one. And I won't even say a job, but it's a career that can take you into entrepreneurship. So, you could have your own business. So it's long lasting and sustainable. But, again, one of the cons to a lot of people is not a con to me. And that's that you can never let your foot off the gas. So if you're having trouble staying energized to learn the things that you're learning now, and oh Lord, we got to learn something else, and we just learned that, this is probably not going to be the career field for you, because what's going to happen is, a lot of times, which is good, you're going to come in at a lower level position, help desk or something like that, or in the IT department, just hooking computers up for the staff, on the floor. And then, that you're going to have to find the motivation to want to go past that. And so, that's just one of the cons, is that if you have a desire that you're going to want to move up, then get ready and get used to learning.
So in terms of difficulties learning, how would you compare to quantum computing to IT?
Well, I would say quantum computing, and that's the thing, is that quantum computing is going to move at such a faster pace that which you might think that some of the stuff you're learning is going to be obsolete. And I told you, I went to a conference last week about quantum computing, and a lot of times people are thinking that because if you understand, bytes and bits and the 0 and the 1, where we know 0 is off and 1 is on, but in quantum computing, 0 could be off plus on plus off. So that 1 0 could be a million different things. So it's not just 0 and 1 anymore. That 0 could represent a lot of different things. And so I'm saying that to say that you think that it's gone so far that all I'm gonna have to do is think in my mind and the computer's going to react to it. But that's just not the case. So quantum computing is kind of fooling us to thinking that we don't have to learn the basics. And so I think that, that's what I fear, is that people are going to try to take shortcuts to get all the way to a quantum physicist before they are a help desk or a system admin. There's value in system admin and help desk. My mentor is a top-notch pen tester, and I mean, he's worked for Nike and Google and Volkswagen. I mean, the self-driving car thing, he helped design it because people can hack into the self-driving car and stuff like that. So anywhere that there's but anyway, I'm just going to say that he started at the very low level, hooking computers up. And he's been in the field for 30 years, and I talk to him all the time, and he would not be anywhere close to where he is now without those help desk jobs. He could not have come in like I kind of did in the middle and just jump straight into cybersecurity. Luckily, I have a mentor like him, because this is where I kind of closed the education gap for myself, is just having somebody knowledgeable. Because you got to be able to learn the absolute bare knuckle basics before you can go further. I can't hear you, buddy. No, okay, because the microphone is only for the camera, so it's not magnifying your voice. You got to still speak so I can hear you, but. It'd be basketball. As if I haven't made that evidently clear, but who knows what the future holds.
Okay. Hello.
Hi.
I was wondering, when dealing with cybersecurity, when you run into an issue, what would you say is your process for trying to troubleshoot the problem?
Well, the very good thing about cybersecurity is, although you can have what's called 0-day vulnerabilities, which means that there is no fix for them, you can find close enough things that there's research that you can do. So I have been so lucky that I have not had any issue that I haven't been able to at least find a grain of information that gave me a starting point, and then going to people who know more than me and asking questions, being inquisitive, doing hypothesis, seeing what makes sense, what doesn't. That's the process that you go through.
As you said that you grew up as an athlete playing basketball. As an athlete myself, I relate to that. Just trying to figure out colleges and university that I want to play at, sports-wise, athletically, and also to have my major in cybersecurity. So how has your upbringing as an athlete related not to just the development and building of the institution, but to how you grow in the field?
Well, I think that it has the intangible skills and the same qualities it takes to, because, if you're an athlete, then you know that your coach can run you into the ground and you walk out crawling out, but you come back tomorrow. Like, where's the logic in that? Except that's exactly how life works. That sometime you're going to get the floor mopped up with you. You can lose bad. You can do the drill wrong. You can mess the play up. You can miss the game-winning free throw. But something brings you back the next day. Those are the same things that it takes to be successful. But most in general, as far as when you're an athlete looking to get into a field, you have to do what it takes. Because what's going to happen in college, a lot of times they aim you at the degree that's going to coincide with their schedule as far as the sport goes, which means you wind up taking basket weaving 101 because it's got the time that's going to get you out of class in time to go to practice. When, hey, I came here to do cybersecurity. Then you find out, dag, I'm going to have to miss sleep at night. Dag, that's going to take my weekends away. That's going to determine whether you really want it or not, because they will make a way that you can be a doctor and play college basketball, but you're not going to have a summer. You're not going to have a life, because every minute that you're not fulfilling your obligation to play that sport for that school, you have to be taking your own time to apply yourself to the thing you want to do.
Is that all our questions?
Great questions, everyone. And I really see everybody's going to be successful. Thank you so much.
Most valuable commodity I know of is information. Wouldn't you agree?
I don't even know what that means.
No one knows what it means, but it's provocative.
No, it's not.
It gets the people going.
It's your boy JR dropping them beats.